This is Master's Boulder Dash, released for the Commodore 64 back in 1986 by Zombie Crackers. It appears to be a set of custom Boulder Dash levels, and it's not something you buy in a store. I know a Boulder Dash construction kit was out there, and I think that was Boulder Dash 3, I'm not sure, but I imagine this was a result. There are a lot of Boulder Dash games out there actually with custom levels. I think I've seen the Commodore 64 having 4 official releases, and then the custom levels, there are like 10 or 15 of them that I've been able to find so far. That's far more than I would have expected. As Boulder Dash, you play Rockford, and your goal is to collect a specific amount of diamonds and make it to the exit of the level before the time runs out. And that's the basic explanation. The rest is you understanding the way the level is designed and learning the basic physics of the game. They're going to be creatures, which are really these flashing and moving shapes. If you touch them, they're going to explode and you're going to die. You'll figure that out pretty quick, I think. And of course there are boulders, and you can push them left or right if there's no dirt there, and you open up space as you run around digging through the dirt to begin with. As you make these voids, boulders could fall into that void, and they can cascade and crush you, and you can also make those boulders fall and crush enemies, which is great. I guess you could think of Dig Dug with a much bigger map, no pumping to explode enemies, and it's faster. It's definitely more complex and faster. I don't know what makes this game particularly a Master's game. I mean, I guess it is unofficial, so they can call this whatever they want. I can certainly say it's awesome, and the levels are sufficiently complex and entertaining. Maybe a bit more troubleshooting could have been run on some of the levels. I did run into one issue pretty early in the game that I had to troubleshoot, but I figured it out. Basically on level 2, this is in the first series of caves, you're going to die before you spawn into the level. And there's a timing thing with the enemy. You're going to just spawn in, and this creature's going to run into you, and you're going to die. And after some searching, it did take me a little bit of time to figure it out. Basically, you need to set the game difficulty to at least level 4 in the menu screen. This speeds up everything. And after you've had this set, you're able to play this level and start without dying right away. Actually, moving around the screen is quicker and more useful, actually, when you're faced with a timer like this, so it works out. I just died a lot before I managed to figure it out. I think this is one of the things I've experienced with all the Boulder Dash games. The timer. It's perfectly reasonable on some levels, and it's going to be horribly constricting in others. When it's constricting, though, I think it usually means there's some fundamental trick or expectation on the level. It's something you have to figure out, a special path. In this particular game, I messed around with the first level far too long. I mean, the situation is simple enough when you look at it, but you really have to pay attention to the layout of the level to figure out what it is you're trying to do. Or you can try to find somebody that's already played through it online to see how some of these need to work. That usually helps. The thing with this game is that it's got a lot of things going for it, but also the things it has going for it are in kind of the most critical areas, and that's where it excels. The basics of the game are fundamentally solid. We get really cool layouts of the level, but we got a consistent physics of way boulders are going to fall. We got enemies that are going to behave in a specific way, and the timing of the way boulders fall, things move, they all work together really well, and they provide a really awesome challenge to keep things interesting along the way. It's pretty great. The layout is actually something I found appealing in this game because each level's different, and they're not just one-screen levels. You have to wander around left to right, up and down, to get a feel for what you're actually supposed to do. There are things in the level that you just don't know are there because you haven't seen them yet. You're probably not going to know how to beat most levels just by seeing the immediate area that you spawn into. You're going to have to wander a little bit. I think there are other things that make this series fun too. Of course, there's lots of icing on this cake. Rockwell, your avatar, he's a solid mascot. The theme music is great. It's this awesome 80s synth, which I love. And it's not just a 2-second loop. It's fantastic. And you got a ton of different levels to experience, and they're arranged in cave system clusters. At the beginning, you can change between the cave systems. This makes it so you're not forced to progress through every single level in order. So if you're getting tired of one cave system, you can just switch to another to keep playing. Also, something I've mentioned about in other videos that I've talked about, the colors for the game. They're simple enough, certainly, but the one thing they do here that I think is great is they switch the color palette every level or so. The entire screen takes on a different feel, and I absolutely love that. So we have a killer puzzler, and making it through a level and beating this based on a timer is kind of a rush sometimes. To even just see what the next level looks like, to see it load, it's a relief and it's a curiosity at the same time. The levels don't tend to get easier the further you go. They get more sort of intricate and interesting. I think I'm extra impressed with this Masters game because it's basically a homebrew collected and released. And this probably wasn't the easiest thing to do in the mid to late 80s. I was a kid back then, and although there were bulletin boards out there for data sharing, the internet really wasn't there, and I didn't have access to that stuff. I was way too young. Well, that's all I have today for Masters Boulder Dash for the Commodore 64. What a great puzzler. Thanks for stopping by to take a look, and hope to catch you on another video.